Alright guys, we've made it to week 3. So, week 3, we are going to be talking about system utilities. So for this week, I have a little bit of different activities for you. So for my lecture, we are definitely going to go through a lot of those. So make sure you do watch all of this video because it will definitely help you out when you go to do the labs, plural. And this is stuff that you're going to see out in the real world, okay? So we're going to talk about some really powerful tools that are made available to us in Windows 10. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so using system utilities. So I am currently not in the NDG, although yours should look pretty similar, right, minus the background. Let me move this guy down here so you guys are able to see this. Okay, so computer management is one of the first tools that is talked about in the chapter, where we can schedule tasks. Like, we have a variety of different tools that we can use. So say we wanted to shut down our system at 8 o'clock, we could schedule that. If we wanted to a certain task to run at a certain time, we could do that, right? We have Event Viewer where we can go through logs. If we're running into an issue, we can kind of see what is going on if there is an issue. And usually you don't look at Event Viewer, right, unless you're having issues. But lots of good information. So it looks like we have one critical error, right? And then we can click into it, and it will tell us the system has rebooted without clearly being shut down first, which is 100% true because this is, let me move this guy up for you. This is one of my virtual machines. And I could absolutely attest to, I didn't shut it down properly. But there's some good information. We also have our Windows logs and Event Viewer. And hold on, let me go back here. So we can, it's organized right by event type. So some information, right? Kind of scroll through there. Not super important, right? Critical, obviously being crazy important. Error, warning. That sounds a little more, serious than information, right? So we have all of that available to us as well, okay? We have our shared folders that we can share between users. This would be more for like your work groups, right? We wouldn't want to do this on a domain because we have file servers and different ways that we can share folders that way. We can see our local users and groups. So here in my user, I have my admin. I named my user admin, which is also what your user name is on your NDG. We have our administrator account, which is disabled by default. Obviously, that's a good thing. Probably should set a password on there. Guest account, disabled. That little down arrow just means that it's disabled. Okay, I have some groups. These are all built-in groups and no groups that I personally created. So under administrators, right, I have my account. So I have admin access. And then also that default administrator account that's created by Windows is also there as well. Performance. Basically, we can just view data in real time. And this can obviously help if we need baselines, whatnot. Device manager. I don't know why Now, this is one of two ways that you can get to device manager. You can also just click on your Windows and type in device manager, and device manager will pop up. Okay? So, same exact thing. Okay? Now, if I were to have an issue, I can uninstall this guy. I can uninstall device. Oh, I don't want to restart my computer. Sorry, not going to do that one. But I can go through and uninstall those. I can go through and if there is an issue, which is kind of what I was wanting to show you. I don't have any issues on any of these guys, unfortunately. Let me check. I'm going to check my own system, which is quite possible I might have some issues. Okay, so those guys are disabled, interestingly enough. And like I have any issues with any of those, unfortunately. But if there were an issue, you'll see the little triangle, yellow triangle, showing that there's an issue. So you can try a multitude of things. You can go out and right-click it, update the driver. You can search automatically when your device is connected to the internet, or you can browse on your system. And if you have, say, drivers on a flash drive or wherever, you can do it that way as well. Make sure you're getting those drivers from a reliable website, so the manufacturer's website. Don't be going to like drivers.com, right? You're going to get a lot more than a driver, and not in a good way, okay? We also have disk management, where we can, another powerful tool, right? And so this is the GUI version of disk part. So I'm going to kind of jump around here a little bit if you are trying to look at the chapter at the same time. But disk management is, there we go, the GUI version, or graphical user interface version of disk part. So with disk part, I can go about and do the same thing. So I only have the one disk, right, which is correct. Disk 0, disk 0. I can list my partitions. Oops, I need to select my disk first. Select disk 0, and then list part. Going too fast. There we go. And I have my partitions, which I minimize this guy here. Should match up. So system, okay, 100 megs. I have my reserved, which does not show on it. Ooh, interesting. Let me see if I can expand. No, it does not show on there. Oh, there's my recovery partition. Okay. My recovery partition matches. Primary partition matches, right? It just doesn't show that reserved partition. Interesting. Kind of cool. Okay. This part, I could actually do a little more. There are sometimes where you have to use disk partition in order to basically delete the entire, delete all my volumes and partitions off a flash drive. Depending on what I have on that flash drive, it won't let me do it in disk management. So another cool tool, and we'll get into command prompt. And I'm trying to think of a fun lab that I'm probably going to be publishing today too for you guys, to kind of have you dip your toes into command prompt. Okay, and then we have services and applications. So if we click into services, right, we have a list of all the services, their startup type, whether they're automatic, delayed, right, manual, so something trips it and it turns on. The login type, so we can sort it, right? So local service or network service, right? I don't see anything that's kind of weird or out of the ordinary, which, I mean, it's a freshly installed virtual machine. There probably shouldn't be. The status, if they're running, stopped, whatever, and then the name. And we also have a nice little description. Okay. Now, there's another place. So let me right-click and go to Task Manager. And Startup, we can also see what services start upon starting up our system, right? And then we have our list of services, which should be the same, right? And then we show if they're stopped running, etc. Our description, etc. Okay? And then we also have the process ID, which, if you are using command prompt to try and stop something, or something even more powerful like PowerShell, you would need that process ID, which is listed right here for you. Okay? Alright, so I am going to close out of there. Alright, so this again, let me open, I was in this part, I'll get out of this part now. So this is command prompt, and command prompt is a really, really cool tool. that you can use for lots of things, right? So we can use it to show our IP address. So I can do IP config. I can also do IP space / all, and it will show me information about all of my network adapters, my DNS, my subnet mask. It will also show me my IPv6, but the other cool thing is it also shows me my MAC address for if I had, so if I do all on my system, I have multiple Ethernet adapters, and so I have multiple MAC addresses because each device that connects to the internet, whether it's via Wi-Fi, via Ethernet adapter, needs its own MAC address, which is burnt in. Okay. Shows me my DHCP server, my default gateway, which is my router, my DNS, which is your phone book of the internet. So all that sorts of good stuff. I can also ping to check connectivity. Whoops. It would help if I had numlock on. Okay. So let me ping my router. Okay. Okay. So I can get to my router, and then if I want to see if I can get out to the internet, I'm gonna ping Google's DNS server. Whoop, if I can type correctly. There we go. So I can get out to the internet. If I wasn't, then, obviously the pings would be unsuccessful. Let me see if I can. 172.16.55.5. There shouldn't be anything on that IP address in my network. So it will show me destination unreachable so that I could investigate further. Like, hey, what's going on? Does this device not have internet? Is there something going on in my network? But basically, I can't reach it. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about PowerShell a little bit. Now, PowerShell is a lot more powerful, right, than command prompt. There's some really cool features that you can use with PowerShell as well, but all of my commands from command prompt work with inside of PowerShell, right? So I have still showing my default gateway. I can still ping. Okay. So let me show you another really cool thing, and that's the reason that I'm doing this video in not in NDG. So let me show you. So this is, I'm switching over to my Windows Server virtual machine. Okay, so it's going to look a little bit different, and if you guys have me next year in the spring semester, so what would that be, 27? Spring of 27, when you guys would be in my server class. If you have me for server class, we'll talk even more in depth, right? But I created a PowerShell script. Oh, I need Server Manager open. A PowerShell script that will create virtual machines for me. And I will show you. I might have to go through and delete these because I think, yep, I did not clean these off when I was messing around with them. And it took a while. Sorry, guys. Where did I put that? I thought. No. Maybe I already deleted them. Oh, Hyper-V Love. Here we go. Okay. So let me delete those so I don't get any errors. So I have my, let me edit. So here is PowerShell. Oops. Again, I didn't shut it off normally, right? So the nice thing about this, right, is with PowerShell, I have my script, right here on my desktop that I've been working on, right? And I'm able to debug, right? And it will run through the entire script and tell me if there's going to be any issues, which I love, right? I love. And that way I don't have to, can't set firmware type. Okay, that's cool. So it tells me failed to start. So it can't start the system, it looks like, because, and I can scroll back up. Oh, I don't have enough virtual machine memory. That's okay. I didn't allocate a lot to this virtual machine. But it also lists all of the commands that you can use inside of PowerShell, which is really cool. Love all the pretty colors, right? It helps my mind stay focused when I am creating scripts. And when you guys do Python next semester, right, you guys are going to be using Thonny or I can't remember what Philip uses, but it will look similar to this, and it just helps your brain focus, I guess. So you can tell the difference between your different commands and whatnot. Okay, so here's my PowerShell script. So I am going to take my PowerShell script, and I had to set the location, right, for all of my VMs, which are on my ISO, right? So it's going to create multiple VMs. Some are going to have the server 22, which my DC will, and then I also have a few client machines that are going to have Windows 11. So if I search for PowerShell, I need to run this as administrator, right? Otherwise I get even more errors, and it won't let me. But let me pull up Hyper-V, so you can see this. Ooh, why did those pop up? Oh, it did it in the background when I was debugging. Oh, I didn't do it the right way. Okay, hold. I want you guys to be able to watch this. There we go. Okay, let me empty my recycle. If you can tell, 35 items. I've tried this script and I've played around a lot. Okay, so I have my PowerShell script that I copied, so I'm going to right click and it will paste it. Okay, so I'm going to bring this guy over here so you can see it is going through, and it is creating those virtual machines for me in Hyper-V. Okay, memory, not enough to start, so it's starting these two clients. Oh, no, it's not starting my client, it's starting my domain controller. Okay, now I still have a lot of playing around to do, so if I'll show you why. Let me start it, because I still haven't figured out how I can get it to, oh, I need to boot to the firmware. Boot it to the, well, here, I'll show you with this guy. Let me start this guy, correct. Like, I wish there was a way for me to be able to have this start automatically, but I haven't got that far. Okay, so again, that's not good. Turn off. So this is your display settings. Okay, so PowerShell, I'm just going to move around. Here we can change, obviously, your display settings, the resolution, etc. Hopefully stuff that you've messed with before. We can change our desktop backgrounds if we had our machines licensed. Maybe it will let me. It will let me. Nice. I haven't reached the 60 days yet. We can pick our screensavers, personalize, etc. Okay. This is also where you would be able to arrange if you had multiple monitors on display settings. Okay. What else do I want to show you guys? Control panel. So in control panel, I think this might be one of your scavenger hunt settings. Programs and features. We can turn on Windows features, okay? So in order for me to use nested virtualization so I can put my hypervisors on my virtual machines, I had to disable Hyper-V, which is enabled by default. I can also turn off Windows or Internet Explorer 11. There's lots of features, right? Or add. So Active Directory tools, etc. Let's see. So we talked about device manager, talked about drivers, where we go. So notdrivers.com. If we need to uninstall a program, obviously here's where we go. We can also find, let's see, we can do some power management. We can, let me do the small icons. Power options for our power management. There's different states that we can select. We can choose what our power button does, create a power plan, modify standby, etc. I think that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have issues with command prompt or the scavenger hunt, also please let me know. Other than that, I hope you all have a great week. Thanks.